Hello, everybody. This is F. Gary Gray. I want to welcome y'all to another episode of Sequelizing Sonnenfeld. That's right, Sequelizing Sonnenfeld. You know, it's what I love to do, and we're here for another episode of it. You, of course, joined us for our inaugural episode, Be Cool, in which I sequelized The Great Get Shorty. And now, Men in Black International, where I decided to take Sonnenfeld's great trilogy and make a fourth installment. People don't understand that me, F. Gary Gray, I am the world's foremost expert and fan of the great films of Barry Sonnenfeld, and I intend to sequelize every single one of them before I'm through.
Wow. Do you really?
Do you know what I'm working on next?
I don't. I'd love to know.
A new a sequel to For Love or Money.
Wow.
I've got MJ Fox back in. The
Really?
whole gang, yeah.
Interesting. How's that sequel to The Negotiator going for you?
I've got that lady who ended up in Burn Notice. I'll tell you what, Sonnenfeld didn't direct The Negotiator, so I won't be sequelizing that.
Oh, good point.
I directed that.
Right.
And I know what you're going to say, but Sonnenfeld's his own man. He's the true artiste. He doesn't need to sequelize my films. I will only sequelize his.
Oh, my goodness. It'd be interesting if he did, though.
I'd love to see a Sonnenfeld Straight Outta Compton for sure.
That would be cool.
Yeah. But for now, just me. So, Men in Black down. Get Shorty down. Next up, For Love or Money. You'll be loving that.
I'm into it, Gary. F. Gary.
You could call me F.
Agent F.
Oh my God! Don't you love the naming system in the Men in Black movies?
It's real good. It's real complicated.
Yeah. Okay. This is Daniel Ehrenberg now. Welcome to a bonus episode of the franchise. I really do want to talk about the naming system.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
This is an international organization, Henry.
Right. And how many letters of the alphabet are there?
To be honest, I don't know off the top of my head. I want to say 26.
That's what I want to say, but I also don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. There are hundreds of Men in Black agents walking around the New York offices alone.
That's true.
All right, so I don't know what's going on in these international offices. I'm to be told that Liam Neeson is playing a character named High T.
High T. I guess they add.
I didn't know about the high and low rankings, and do they all have to be fun puns?
It's a good point. I don't know. It could be a noun, adjective, maybe a verb before it to differentiate. Maybe some people get 2 letters.
Yeah, that could be. I think Will Arnett in Men in Black 3 was Agent AA. All right, so I saw there's a Men in Black movie in theaters right now. You might not know that because no one's seeing it.
Oh, is it not doing well at all?
No, nobody's seeing it. But we covered it, so we had to see it. I saw it like fucking 2.5 weeks ago. Hank saw it a week ago. It's already left our brains because it's that kind of movie.
Pretty much. Yeah, pretty much.
But we'll talk about it to the best of our abilities.
Yeah, I mean, it's fresh enough in my head, I think. But it was forgettable.
Yeah.
Not unpleasant.
I guess.
Is that a rave review?
Yeah.
Not unpleasant? Yeah.
You know, it's interesting. We're at the forefront of something very interesting, Henry.
What's that?
We are the franchise.
We are.
We host a podcast about movie franchises. And when we first started this podcast, it seemed to be like movies are dead in any form other than franchises. That's what seemed to be happening.
Really?
Yeah.
You're right. You're right. Even in our inaugural episode, when you were telling everybody what we were all about, I think you were talking very at length about that, right?
That's right. Movies don't get made anymore by major studios unless there's a potential of a franchise. But what's happening here this summer is these franchises are underperforming at the box office consistently. Okay, now there have been a couple that have bucked this trend. Obviously, Avengers Endgame was massive. That Aladdin movie was fucking massive.
Right.
But
not Dark Phoenix. Yeah.
No, I mean look at some of these failures. You brought up Dark Phoenix, so let's start there. That is currently sitting at number 20 for the year on the domestic box office at only $63 million.
Oh God.
Okay?
Wow.
That's bad. Men in Black International has made $65 million at the domestic box office. Okay.
So it must have made more worldwide. But
yeah, I mean, look, it's made $219 million worldwide so far on a $110 million budget.
Right.
All right. It's not very good. I'm looking at some other sequels here. How about Godzilla, King of the Monsters? It's just managed to cross $100 million at the box office. Didn't even make as much as The Upside, the Bryan Cranston wheelchair movie. All right. Lego Movie 2 is down here with $105 million, just under Godzilla. Okay, that first movie was massive, Henry.
Yeah, it was. I remember.
Even Secret Life of Pets 2 and Toy Story 4, while not disasters, are underperforming.
Oh, are they really? I would have thought those two, especially Toy Story 4, were setting records.
No, man. They're all underperforming. Annabelle Comes Home didn't do so hot this week. Happy Death Day to You made like half of what the first one made, maybe less. The Dog sequel, that didn't do well. That Hellboy movie fucking tanked, Henry.
Yeah, that was gone.
Okay?
Yeah.
The Shaft movie, the new Shaft, tanked.
You know, the last two you mentioned, I didn't even know were out. I remember when you said Hellboy a few episodes ago, and I had no idea that even came out. Never even saw it advertised. Wow.
Sunk like a fucking stone, dude.
What about Wick 3?
Wick 3 is huge.
All right. So that's like one exception. So for the most
There's
part,
always exceptions. I mean, look at franchises are still a massive business, okay? But it's very interesting to see what's happening here.
I think it's franchise fatigue.
It's gotta be, man.
Yeah, I mean, there's just two. I feel like something you've talked about a lot, which is they're coming out too soon behind one another, and then also maybe they're too long on something that was already done, i.e., Men in Black International.
I think some movies, some of these franchises don't understand what was appealing about the originals, or the market just isn't fucking there. Maybe in 2019, we're not all clamoring for a Shaft movie.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I kind of want to see it, but
was it even called Shaft?
It's called Shaft. It's the third in this franchise to just be called Shaft.
Okay. It's just odd because, I mean, the other one with Sam Jackson was like 19 years ago, and that was called Shaft, and so he's in this one. So, I mean, I saw like one preview for it. Like, is it to be considered a sequel to that movie?
They all are, because if you remember, Roundtree was in that Sam Jackson Shaft.
Yeah.
And Roundtree is again in this one as like the grandfather of the new Shaft.
Jesus. Yeah.
These movies, listen, Men in Black International, Sony learned a hard lesson, and that's that people want to see Will fucking Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Did he want nothing to do with this? How did this happen that he's not involved at all?
Because Will Smith takes forever to choose projects. He demands an enormous salary. One of the biggest in Hollywood. And so he chose Aladdin, which was willing to pay him, and Aladdin has gone on to be Will Smith's highest grossing movie in his career.
Really?
Yes.
Whoa. That's saying something, man. I did not know that statistic. Holy shit.
Absolutely. So we put together this Men in Black International, And you've got people in it like Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson who have been in billion-dollar movies.
Right.
But maybe they're not box office draws.
I mean, I think you're
maybe
probably right.
people are going to see Thor. They're not going to see Hemsworth.
I agree. I mean, that the thing is that Hemsworth, Chris Evans, they're not going to.
Evans doesn't even make fucking movies where he's not Captain America anymore.
Yeah, right. But what I was going to say was these guys. I think they're trying to become like Robert Downey Jr. But there's no history to these guys, so the clout is simply coming from the Avengers. So can they headline something? I don't know. I mean, I don't think so. I think you're right. I mean,
is this even the test ultimately? I mean, this is another thing where you're riding on the brand.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's a weird conundrum, of course, because Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson are totally going to be fine.
They're great. I love both of them, actually. They're both likable, funny actors who can play emotion. Tessa Thompson's even better than Hemsworth, I think. But
yeah, agreed.
I mean, at this point, what are we doing? Tessa Thompson was in Creed and Black Panther, which made money, and now this, which didn't. Do we know whether she can build a movie? Has she starred in a movie other than like Dear White People?
Yeah, I don't know.
Hemsworth, they've tried a few times, and he continuously tanks.
What about
there was
Rush?
Black Hat, there was Rush. No one saw any of these fucking movies.
I passed on Black Cat, and that was Michael Mann.
Yeah,
me
too.
I have no interest. I mean, I think Tessa can. I think she can do it. I think if she gets the right project, she's easily a headliner. I think one of the weird issues with this movie.
But is the right project going to be offered to Tessa Thompson that isn't a franchise?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I certainly hope so, and I think it will.
Because that's what I'm interested in. We don't really build franchises on the back of actors anymore.
Yeah, that's interesting. Meaning like...
But people still want to see them. Listen, Sony thought those Men in Black movies are great, and they made a lot of money for us, and now... it introduces a huge world, right? Like Men in Black, it lends itself to treating it like a universe or whatever. Sure. So, we can't get Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones back. Fine, we're gonna just get some other actors in there and see if this works as a brand name. They didn't know what they were gonna do with this franchise, dude. This movie was originally developed as a fucking 21 Jump Street spinoff.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, it was going to be Men in Black meets 21 Jump Street.
I think they might have had a better shot at something like that. I think that one of the issues is that they're this is just my opinion. 100% they're going off of obviously the chemistry between Hemsworth and Thompson from Thor Ragnarok and the Avengers. So they're taking it like, okay, so here's a duo. So really, there isn't. Billing wise, there really isn't a star, that they were promoting. It was like, you guys like them so much as Thor and Valkyrie, we're going to put them in another movie having like the same repartee.
They gave him the diagonal credits.
It's very strange. A diagonal credit.
You know how they do that? When they have like two stars in a movie of like relatively similar billing, they'll pop both of the names on the screen at the same time, but they'll put one on the top of the screen and one on the bottom of the screen, but the bottom one will be listed first. So it's like Tessa Thompson is on the top, Hemsworth is on the bottom, but Hemsworth is listed first.
Oh, okay.
So no one can complain. They'll be like, why am I on the bottom? Yeah, but you're listed first.
Right.
Why am I listed second? Yeah, but look, his name's all the way at the bottom of the screen. Can't
complain. Very strange. Very, very strange attempt at equal billing.
Shrewd stuff. Yeah. So you want to talk about... You know what? I want to bring up Just like two fun things that I found in doing research and stuff.
Sure.
One, did you happen to read Jennifer Lawrence's comments on working with Sophie Turner in Dark Phoenix?
Oh my God, no! But I want to hear it.
Just going back to Dark Phoenix for a moment, which we already covered.
Our previous bonus episode, yeah.
Yeah. Let me find it. I have it here. Fuck. Just give me a quick second.
That's all right. I didn't know. That's really funny. I can't wait for this. I'm sure Jennifer Lawrence, she usually speaks her mind, doesn't really give a shit.
Okay, so Jimmy Kimmel, I guess they showed a clip from Dark Phoenix where like Sophie Turner was crying and shit. And Kimmel asks her, how was Sophie Turner able to summon her emotions during that scene?
Oh no.
Jennifer Lawrence says she was crying because her dialect coach took her jewel away.
Oh man, gotta love Jennifer Lawrence.
Oh my God, what a fuck you!
I can't even believe when you told me she said something. I thought you were gonna say like she put like a tweet or some obscure magazine article. I didn't know she said it on Kimmel.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
She said it right there. And I also wanted to read that thing somebody sent me that Ed Solomon, the writer of the original Men in Black, wrote. Remember that?
Yeah, about working with Tommy, right?
Yes, exactly. And I probably should have pulled that up before this episode.
It was a pretty long thing. I took a glance at it. It was more like a conversation right here. He was talking to somebody about it.
No, it was just a thread. You don't know what that is because you're not on Twitter.
I do know what a thread is, but
I can't find it.
It's okay.
All right, whatever. Check that out. Anyway, Tommy Lee was a fucking shithead to work with.
Yeah.
So let's talk about it. F. Gary Gray directed this great homage to the great Barry Sonnenfeld.
Yeah.
And it came out June 14th on a budget of $110 million, $219 million box office so far. And it was written by Art Markham and Matt Holloway, who I believe are contracted with Sony to work on their franchises.
Oh, all right.
So they've written. They were poached from Marvel, I think. They were like involved in the first Iron Man movie.
I was just gonna say because I know the name Matt Holloway. I don't recognize Art Markham, but yeah.
I think they're a writing team. But anyway, they wrote on some of the Transformers movies, and now here they are with the Men in Black.
Okay.
All right. So the basic premise for this bad boy is Tessa Thompson plays Molly, who will become Agent M, who witnesses she sees her parents being neuralized by Men in Black agents.
Right.
And she meets a cute little alien, and her whole
very cute.
It is very cute.
Yeah.
And she pretends to be, or she gets interested in aliens for her whole life, right? So she does really well in school, and she decides she's going to join the FBI and then the CIA, and then quits both of these organizations after learning that they're not involved with the aliens situation.
Yeah, they don't know anything about it. And I have to say, I thought that whole sequence was quite funny. I liked her reactions to all of it, and her comic timing I thought was very good. I like that idea.
All right, Henry's on board. Okay.
I was on board for that, sure.
I was okay. Listen, anything where we're just hanging out with Tessa Thompson, I'm fine with.
Right.
Meanwhile, Hemsworth is working overseas with Liam Neeson, and about a year earlier or whatever, they've
beaten the Hive.
The Hive, which is like
I'll help you out. I know it's been 3 weeks.
It really has.
I get it. Yeah, they had a victory at the Eiffel Tower, so to speak. Liam Neeson and Chris Hemsworth, and beat back the Hive. You are to believe. So,
Okay. I want to get into this right now. Did
Sure.
you have any doubt that Liam Neeson was the villain of this movie?
It kind at very first glance, I did not. When they threw Rafe Spall in there, he's always a little sketchy, but he's too sketchy in the scenes he's in, so I knew it wasn't going to be him. So to answer your
Right. I actually thought Rafe Spall was kind of funny in this movie.
I love Rafe Spall.
Yeah.
We've talked about him before. Yeah, he's great. But I figured his appearance was just too obvious. So honestly, I didn't. I mean, I figured out Liam Neeson was a villain well before we're supposed to, but not immediately. No, when I figured Rafe Spall was not the villain, I figured it had to be Liam Neeson. Yeah,
I figured out it was Liam Neeson before he even fucking showed up in this movie. And here's why.
Yeah, why?
There's two rules I have. One is the villain has to be good enough, okay? And so they introduce Rebecca Ferguson as the villain, and they have these like twin henchmen guys.
Right.
And I'm like, this is a big summer blockbuster release. None of these villains are good enough to be the main villain in this movie. And then
Not big enough, yeah.
And then I thought about it for 2 seconds, and it's like, Liam Neeson's right there. I bet he's the villain. And here's the other reason. Liam Neeson constantly plays a secret villain and shit.
Oh.
Think about this, Henry. I want you to think hard about this. About all the times Liam Neeson was supposed to be one of the heroes in the movie and then ended up becoming one of the villains.
I need it. Okay, go ahead.
All right. Right off the bat, a movie we've covered before. Batman Begins.
True. Good call.
Okay. How about another movie from just last year, Henry? Widows.
Yes. Correct.
Okay.
Right.
Probably some more that I thought of at the time that I can't remember now.
No, I think you're right. But those two are good examples. I mean, I still always default to, knowing Liam Neeson back from Schindler's List and then his fucking resurgence as an action star. So I still think of him when I see him on screen as a good guy, but those are two excellent examples. He has that deceptive thing going on there. So I get it. Do you think that was particularly fresh for you because of Widows?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Liam Neeson is ever present on screen now, and I feel like he's constantly making heel turns.
Yeah. I saw even a couple of his pot boilers for lack of anything to see a few years ago. He had like fucking 3 in 1 year. You remember? He
tons. I remember when we were living together, you watched that movie, The Grey.
Oh, that was a good movie, though. That was a good movie. I'm talking
What
about...
are you talking about? Like A Walk Among the Tombstones?
Yeah. Run All Night, nonstop. That shit. Yeah.
Run All Night. Run All Night and Nonstop. Those are two different movies.
I know, that's hard to believe. They should have just put the title together. Run All Night, Nonstop.
They should have made it a sequel. They could have franchised that baby out.
And at the very end, the ending could have been called A Walk Among the Tombstones. Everybody dies. Perfect.
End of the trilogy. Done. Love it.
Yeah. All right, so you guessed that. So Molly meets Chris Hemsworth.
Well, first Molly sneaks into the Men in Black, which is kind of a cute sequence, and then she meets Emma Thompson, which really isn't. And Emma Thompson likes...
Oh, right, that's first. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, Emma Thompson likes her and thinks that she's the type of person Men in Black used to hire, back in the good old days.
Sure.
And so they end up hiring her and sending her over to work in England with Crimsworth. Crimsworth.
High tea and Crimsworth, yeah.
Right. High tea. It's so stupid.
That really was stupid. I didn't even understand. I just call him iced tea. Who fucking care? I was that was odd. I don't know what that was about.
FYI, call him iced tea. Have iced tea play him.
For a fact that would have gotten a hilarious reaction from everybody in the crowd.
I would have loved it.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that is dynamite stuff. All right, what happens next?
So she goes there to London, and there's this fucking. I mean, the plot is. I can't even.
Well, it's
there's
one of these plots that seems really complicated because we're dealing with past and present, and we're dealing with who or who may not have been neuralized. But then ultimately, when they explain it at the end, it's really fucking simple. Like, Liam Neeson's an asshole. He neuralized Chris Hemsworth, so Chris Hemsworth doesn't remember the plot of the movie. The whole movie is just Chris Hemsworth trying to remember shit he did.
Exactly.
It's the exact plot of the episode of Full House where Michelle gets amnesia.
They might have been following that spec script, the original one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
beat for beat. It's the same thing.
Yeah. Pause here, Liam.
Then Tessa Thompson falls off a horse. What should we have her do instead? I don't know. Yeah.
So they find out that the hive had actually taken over Neeson's body, but in the midst of all this, they're sent to guard this alien named Vungus the Ugly, who does not trust his old buddy Agent H, who is Hemsworth, whose name is Henry.
And Vungus is just a CGI creation. This is a big problem I have with this movie, Henry.
That would be a pretty big problem then.
Well, it is a big problem.
I think they look good.
They look fine. I'm not complaining the fact that they're CGI. I just mean they're cuddly. The aliens in this movie are fucking cute. And that's an issue for me because the fun of the original, let's just say the first one.
The first one, yeah.
Is that it's all gross, right? There's a lot of gooey stuff. There's a lot of stuff blowing up. Everyone's getting slimed constantly.
Yeah, you're right.
That's part of the franchise to me. Like, this movie, Liam Neeson being in it was like fucking perfect because there's a bunch of fucking Sebulbas and Wattos running around. I felt like fucking Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson were about to have a pod race.
Yeah, there was a heavy tint of Lucas.
It felt Lucasy.
Yeah, it did. It just looked better. But you're absolutely right. Very good point.
Everyone they run into is like that scene in Attack of the Clones where he goes and Obi-Wan meets that diner guy. Remember, it's me, the diner alien.
Jesus Christ. Yeah. Yeah, there's not really, besides the hive alien, which we've seen before, there aren't really any, like, repugnant creatures of any kind. And most of them are friendly.
Yeah, so, most of them are friendly. By the way, within the first 5 minutes of this movie, we get Frank the Pug and the coffee swilling little worm guys. And I was getting worried.
Well, yeah, I mean, the worm guys was fine because it was sort of like a quick little cameo, and you're like, oh, yeah, there they are. But Frank the Pug, you see him, and then I figure, oh, they brought back, the dare I say, iconic dog from the first one. But then he's gone. That's it. They don't do anything with him at all. So
yeah, I thought we're supposed to be setting Frank the Pug up as like a major Men in Black agent.
So did I.
He wears a suit.
Right. That's right. Yeah. No. He's just the doorman's little puppy.
He's just there, so like the people watching are like, oh.
Yeah, there he is. What did you think of Pawnee?
I want to talk about that. Okay. So Pawnee is he's a little fella, right? Like, I mean, like, how do you describe him? He's a tiny little thing.
He's like a tiny little lizard-looking creature.
Yeah, who's dressed like a Hun.
Very much. Good description. Yeah, dressed like a Hun. Right.
Okay.
Right.
Now, I was ready to love this character because it is cute. And it is voiced by Kumail Nanjiani, who is a comedian I have a lot of time for, and I enjoyed The Big Sick, and I like Silicon Valley. This fucking annoyed me.
Really? Did it?
I thought it was awful. To the point where I got distracted at one point in the movie because he was getting so many lines of dialogue. And like he was constantly yapping, but nobody was talking to him. Like there's like a long section of this movie, maybe like half hour, 40 minutes, where like Tessa Thompson and Chris Hemsworth are like wandering around the world with this the desert with this little guy, and they're talking to each other, and then he's chiming in, commenting on what they're saying, but they're not responding to him. And I'm like, did this character test well? And we just like stuck him in scenes and like had Kumail write his dialogue or something?
Yeah, it's true. You're right. For the most part, he's just like almost like a fourth wall.
Yeah.
In a way. And here's the thing that was it got tough to take. And I think sometimes this is where Tessa shines much brighter than Hemsworth. The repartee, the constant like back and forth with the comic timing, it can be funny, but this has come up a lot recently with people's decision, their ability for comic timing. And I think Hemsworth has it, but sometimes I almost feel like he needs to be reined in a tad. And so there was like a lot of that stuff going on. And so you're getting like I was a little exhausted with like getting it from like three directions at one point. You know, you're getting the barbs between Tessa and Hemsworth and Pawnee constantly, and it's just like a little tiresome. You know, it never stops. It's like they pull that stuff off very, very well in like Avengers sequences when they're all kind of riffing together. But in this one, it's just like constant riffing all the time. You know, and I found that a little tiresome.
And there's no real dynamic between them. They're on the same level of intelligence. They know the same things. That I mean, right. Tessa Thompson plays it kind of real, whereas Chris Hemsworth is always going for the laugh first, which is fine.
Exactly. It's totally a joke. And so it was also strange to me. I mean, call me old-fashioned, but couldn't there not have been a little romantic element going on? I mean, would that would have been nice?
I think what we're doing here is this is the first Men in Black movie with, you know, a cross-gendered pairing. And I think they thought it would make a statement for there not to be that. And I think that's okay.
Well, I think that you're right, but I think it was wrong because I think it would have helped.
But I don't think they had romantic chemistry. I wasn't like hoping they'd hook up.
I mean, I thought they had enough chemistry to certainly warrant it going there. At least, I mean, their dialogue is very like coupley. You know, I mean, certainly it would have worked. It would not have felt out of place for that to occur.
It just would have felt easy.
Perhaps.
But then again, we're making Men in Black fucking 4 here. I guess you're right.
Yeah, that was kind of my thought. Like, what are we trying to make a statement about? It's Men in Black.
I don't know. Maybe they were also thinking we're going to make like 3 more of these, and so they can hook up in a later one.
Yeah, that's very possible.
Won't happen now.
Yeah, are you writing this one off?
This is done.
Done.
Men in Black is officially done unless they can get Will Smith in one of these things.
Well, that's probably not going to happen.
I mean, I would never say never with Will Smith. He makes weird decisions sometimes.
Yeah. I just mean like the 7-year gap and then him not being in this one. But you're right. I guess it's possible. He isn't that prolific. He is. I mean, I don't know, but he is choosy about projects. But he does make weird. I mean, that fucking Gemini Man, right? That's coming out.
Gemini Man, yeah. Well, I think that's promising for Will Smith. Not that it looks good or anything, but just the idea of Will Smith working with Ang Lee is interesting to me.
That is interesting.
He hasn't worked with like a really good director in a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, when was the last time he like made a movie with like a really good filmmaker? Michael Mann? Yeah, exactly.
Probably it, I guess. Yeah, you're right, because he spent most of the 2000s not exactly working with great directors.
I mean, he was nominated for like Pursuit of Happiness, but like, who directed that?
Fuck cares.
Yeah. All right. What?
Happiness with a Y.
What
Remember
begins
the
with a
spelling.
Y? Oh, right. Happiness. Got it. Okay.
Spelling.
All right. So what's next? Well, there's a bunch of fights.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of fights. They go to Chris Hemsworth's ex-girlfriend, who has her big.
Who's that? I don't remember that.
That's Riza, played
Oh,
by
that's
Rebecca.
Rebecca Ferguson, right?
And so, her big alien superpower is that she has crazy-looking hair and a third arm, which took me a couple of times before I even realized that's what was happening. When she like pulls that third arm out, I was like, "Wait a minute, does she have like 8 arms? Is she like a Hindu goddess?"
Oh, right. I had the same thought. I thought they were going to keep coming.
Yeah, no, just one arm.
Yeah, he's just got an extra one.
That's it. That's her. The creative team there was just kind of on autopilot. Like, well, we got to give her something. I mean, she's an alien. Well, yeah, it's their third arm. It's good.
Yeah, it's good for reach arounds.
And we meet the little pet, fully grown up. Who turns out
That's right. Her bodyguard turns out to be the little cute alien that Tessa Thompson child version met at the beginning of the movie.
that's correct. That's right.
Right.
And so he saves them, and then basically Liam Neeson's character is found out, and Hemsworth basically finds out that he was neuralized.
Oh, and then the movie just like dies on its feet. Like once Liam Neeson is like found out, I'm
Yeah.
just waiting for this movie to be over.
Yeah. I mean, it's going through the motions. I mean, it relies a lot on old gags that they've already used. I mean, I think you actively disliked the movie.
No, I really didn't, honestly. Like I liked Tessa Thompson and Chris Hemsworth's chemistry.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a movie. Like I sat through it and I enjoyed it, and if it did well, I would have seen another one. But like, it's just. It's such a
no point.
deeply unnecessary movie.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, that brings up the age-old question that you posed again to reference maybe the first of was this necessary? No.
None of these movies are necessary, but what you have to do making a sequel is convince me that this should exist. Okay?
And I think that Men in Black 3 kind of did that. You know, I was re-listening to a little bit of our show on that just to try to remember what we were saying about it, and we were pretty positive about that one.
About what movie?
Men in Black 3.
No, I liked Men in Black 3.
Because I think it justified its existence, and I think
I agree.
original.
Ultimately.
Right? And this one is.
I think
this
of
is just
Tessa
a number.
Thompson. Think of Creed 2. Think of how unnecessary in the abstract the idea of a Creed 2 is.
Of course.
Okay?
But it worked.
It was awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. You're totally right. I loved it. Yeah.
What do you give
this-
this movie?
I mean, cinematic experience.
We didn't talk about that.
Oh, all right. That's fine.
How was
We
the
can do that.
cinematic experience for you?
Me and 1, 2, 3, 4, visualizing 4 other people in the theater. Totally fine. Nothing to report.
I snuck into this after Dark Phoenix, and it was
Right.
playing in like the Dolby theater where like the seats go back and shit.
Yeah.
And I go in there.
Uh-oh.
I sit down and like this lady's like, "This is my seat. We're the only people in the theater." I'm like, "All right."
Are you serious?
Yeah, of course. Because seats were assigned. Then I move, and this guy comes in with like his entire family.
Oh no.
And not even, it's not like his kids or whatever. Like he's there with like his mother and like his in-laws and shit.
Oh my God.
And he says, "You're sitting in my seat."
Oh my God, dude.
He goes, "Do you even have a seat?"
Oh.
And I go, "I got the wrong seat. I moved."
Yeah.
And he goes, "Well, you should really sit in your assigned seat." And I got up right next to him and I go, "Thanks for the advice, man."
He sounds like you immediately reminded me of the Larry David episode where he's got a bottled water in the movie theater and some random patron tells him that he's not allowed to have water in there and he thinks she works there.
Oh, I don't remember
that.
No.
Oh, it's fucking hilarious. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. God, why? Oh, people are just the fucking worst.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So third time was the charm. And I
that's-
sat there and watched the movie. Got to see that Kevin Costner dog movie again.
I did not. I got spared that. Yeah.
Saw some great stuff.
I saw Hobbs and Shaw again.
I see that every time I go see anything.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't think I saw. No, I didn't see Joker. I don't think I saw any superhero things.
I don't remember. I can't differentiate what I saw for this one and for Dark Phoenix because it was the same day.
Right. No, I get it. Yeah.
All right, so listen to the Dark Phoenix episodes for some more trailer reactions.
Yeah, exactly. When all is said and done, I feel like being generous because it's a totally inoffensive movie. It's just completely forgettable. I'm gonna go in and say, yeah, I can't morally do that. It's 2.
I can't morally do that. Yeah, you wanted to give it a 3 because you have goodwill towards this. You liked this movie. If you saw this on TV, you'd watch it again.
Maybe. Well, I don't know about that. I don't know about that far, but I mean, it was. I always tend to when we're seeing stuff for bonus, I try to give like the benefit of the doubt. But it's 2. Come on, let's be honest.
Yeah,
it's a 2-star.
I agree. It's a 2.
Okay.
Who's your MVP?
I'm gonna give my MVP to Tessa Thompson.
Same. Okay. Who's your LVP?
Well, I have a feeling I know who yours is, but my LVP. You know what? I'm going to go with Rebecca Ferguson. She's one of the main villains here. There's nothing wrong with her. It's just a stupid fucking villain. It's got no purpose in the movie. Totally unnecessary side plot.
All right, I'm going to go with Kumail Nanjiani, which hurts me to do, but whatever. And I will say I'll give a shout out to F. Gary Gray, who just directs a lifeless picture here.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't expect.
And we've seen it before. F. Gary Gray is a director I've liked a few times. Some of his early stuff, like Set It Off or whatever. But Straight Outta Compton's pretty good. But I mean,
He's workmanlike, though, right?
He's so workmanlike, man.
I mean, what have I seen? I've seen.
Well, we talked about The Fate of the Furious on here, which is, the weakest Fast and the Furious movie probably since Tokyo Drift.
Okay, I didn't even remember what we thought of that. All right, yeah, I have seen. I've seen The Italian Job. I hated every second of that.
Go through them. What has he directed? Let's do good, great, horrible.
Okay. All right. First off, we have Friday, which I never saw.
That's great.
No, I know. A lot of people love it.
Yeah.
Set It Off. Never saw it.
Good.
The Negotiator.
Bad.
Agreed. I've seen it. The Italian Job.
Bad.
Agreed. A Man Apart.
Terrible. Oh, I did see that. I was working at Blockbuster at the time. New Vin Diesel movie out? I'll check it out.
Sure. Be Cool. Never saw it.
Terrible.
Law Abiding Citizen with Gerard Butler.
I never saw that. But
I did.
But if you type the word citizen into IMDb, that comes up before Citizen Kane. Fun fact.
It's fucking hysterical. I saw Law Abiding Citizen. It's a good pot boiler. That's all.
Bro, I did see the trailer for Angel Has Fallen.
Angel Has Fallen.
That Gerard Butler, this new sequel to Olympus,
right.
And what was the second one? London.
London. I only saw the first one, yeah.
Yeah,
right.
We got to cover those.
Straight Outta Compton, I didn't see.
Yeah, good.
Fate of the Furious.
Fine.
I probably agreed with you on that. If I can't even remember what I thought of it, that's probably an indication. And Men in Black. So I've seen like 5 or 6 of his movies.
He's not bad, but he's pretty workmanlike.
Yeah, there's nothing.
And he's made a few real trash piles.
Yeah. Not a go-to guy for me. Absolutely not. Yeah.
It should have been him, frankly. Singleton should be alive.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Sorry.
Is that two black working directors? Is that why you went there?
Well, they were the guys in the 90s. Like, it was them and Spike. They were like the black directors.
You're right. That was kind of it.
Yeah.
All right. We're broadcasting from Milor Lo-Fi Res. So we'll just do some superhero music on our own, Dan.
Oh.
What do you think of that?
Fine. Here, I'll do the Dark Knight theme that you were trying to make the theme song.
Bad. That's not bad.
Thanks.
I'm going to say on the count of 3, let's try the Danny Elfman, since he scored this movie.
That's right. He's back, and so is that fun font. You know what?
Like the font.
Here's something. I've always liked the Men in Black font, but you know what it is? It's the Dr. Strangelove font.
Holy shit, you're right.
Yeah.
Wow. Never occurred to me. It is totally that.
Mm-hmm.
Did that just occur to you?
The other day, and I tried to remember to say it here, and I did.
Oh, that's pretty good. Well, in honor of Danny Elfman, let's do his Batman score, okay? A truly great score.
It is.
It is. I agree. All right. These are easy. I got a 4 count. Chris Hemsworth is Thor.
Oh, right.
Is Valkyrie. Liam Neeson is Ra's al Ghul in Batman Begins. And, of course, the Dark Man.
Sure.
And last but not least, this was a weird one. Spencer Wilding, who played the pet when he's grown up as a bodyguard, who they called, by the way, Luca Brasi.
Yeah, they sure did.
That's good. He played a mean guard in Guardians of the Galaxy. He played Brannick in Ghost Rider: Spirit of Vengeance. He played Kilowog in the Ryan Reynolds failure.
Wow.
And he played a Shadow Warrior, one of the ninjas, in Batman Begins.
Yeah, well, he's a stunt double, so he shows up just like as like background action.
You know, it's weird. Yeah. So there you go, folks.
Okay, fun stuff, Hank. We get another Men in Black in the books.
It's true. Yep.
Check your feed. You'll already have Child's Play 3 and Bride of Chucky. Next week will be Seed of Chucky and Curse of Chucky.
Don't take my word for it. Search your brain.
Yeah. All right. Well, anything you got to say?
No, not really, everybody. It's been a pleasure delivering all this content to you in a very packed amount of time. I hope you're enjoying it. You certainly have a lot to listen to. And later this month, you'll be getting a Patreon episode, or 2, rather, right?
Oh, well, of course. Every month.
It's every month, yes. I know, I'm just mentioning it.
Yeah, you know the stuff. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on email. You can email us patreon.com/thefranchise, and make sure you're leaving those 5-star ratings or reviews on iTunes.
Needs to happen. And you can also, I don't think we've said this in a while, I just think it's obvious, but for new listeners or whatever, you can hear us on Spotify, CastBox, iTunes, Post Malone, anything that carries podcasts. Am I right?
Post Malone, sure. Beer bongs and Bentleys all day.
There you go. Yeah. So anyway, guys, we'll see you next week for some more Chucky coverage. And until that time, you all have a great week, and we hope to make your week a little funnier and happier. And signing off from down South Jersey is Hank, and I want to say to everybody a very happy trails.
I make this look good. Alert, alert, we forgot to rank the Men in Black movies. What are your rankings?
Men in Black, number 1.
Me too.
Men in Black 3, number 2.
Me too.
Men in Black International, number 3.
Me too.
And number 4, the worst Men in Black is Men in Black 2.
All right, those are the definitive Men in Black rankings, gang. Hope you enjoyed that edition, this epilogue to the episode.
Right? Yeah, that was great. Little epilogue. We are totally agreed on those rankings. That doesn't happen much.
Hundo, baby.